When Antonin Horak was left stranded in the mountains to recover from his wounds, he crawled to safety inside of a cave, but he soon discovered the crescent moon-shaped cave he took refuge in was unlike anything he'd ever seen, a place that could be a portal to an underground world. Welcome to the Paranormal Post. On this channel, we cover unexplained mysteries, UFOs, paranormal research that will expand your consciousness, and stories that will make you cover your face with blankets at night. Now, if you enjoy these kinds of stories, then please subscribe to the channel. We publish twice a week like clockwork. I'm Clayton Morris. Our amazing story today begins in the autumn of 1944, during the Slovak National Uprising, when the Slovakian military commander Antonin Horak was performing operations near the Tatra Mountains. One night, though, Horak's team was suddenly attacked by the German troops who happened to be patrolling the wilderness that day. As a result, all of Horak's unit was slaughtered, and he was shot and left for dead. This would be the spark that led him to make an amazing discovery that's been the topic of speculation in Slovakia and all over the world ever since. Now, when he regained consciousness, he was lying in a trench in mud covered in his own blood. And as far as he could see, there was bodies of his fallen men everywhere around him. Horak originally thought he was the only one who lived. But then two local villagers helped him. He noticed as he was getting up that two other soldiers were also alive, but gravely wounded. The villagers told the three soldiers they would have to be carried to a remote cave where they could hide while they recovered, out of sight of those German soldiers. But as soon as they reached the cave, Horak sensed that there was something very odd about this place. His doubts were confirmed when one of the villagers asked him not to wander too deeply into the recesses of the cave. Local legend said it was haunted, they said, and there were steep drops that came out of nowhere. Now, that's two good reasons not to go exploring. It's haunted, and you could plummet to your death. I'm staying put. And that's what Horak did for a while. And he agreed to stay put. But he felt like the villagers were hiding something deep inside the cave. What was there? Well, it didn't take long for Horak to break his promise of staying put. The next morning, he had his chance to explore the cave. Now, after the chief of the village, named Slavik, left them to rest, and he promised to come back later in the afternoon to check on them. He knew that he had a limited window of time, and he wasn't physically healed yet, but he managed to get up on one leg, get a lamp in the other hand, and lean on the cave wall as he made his way slowly deeper and deeper into the cave. Now, as he felt his way along the cave wall, he noticed that the walls were different. They weren't rocky and rough as you might expect in a cave. Instead, they were rather smooth and were shining like a mirror. They were bluish black in color, and they looked like they were almost made of glass. What in the world is going on here? A smooth, walled cave? A detail that piqued his interest and made him power on to get deeper into the cave. After walking for 90 minutes, he found a small opening in the floor that he decided to go into. Would you do that? Is this guy nuts? The small opening took him to a huge chamber, and there was another small cave, and it was covered in white stalactites, which had a strange enamel-like substance on them. And sitting in the middle of this cavern was a stunning sight. Within the cave was a big cylindrical object inside of a rock. Horak described it as a dark, metallic, and completely smooth-like wall of a cave. The only difference is that it had strange symbols on it, like hieroglyphics almost. He approached the object, tried to tap on it with a pickaxe. The sound resulted from the tap suggested that the object was more likely to be hollow than anything else because the sound didn't reverberate through the cave. So Horak tried to break it with his pickaxe. But as he tried to hit its surface, it wouldn't even chip as he tried to hit it. It didn't even dent. Some reports said that he even tried to fire at it with his pistol, but it didn't damage it at all. Instead, it simply produced green sparks and some smoke before bouncing back. No damage at all. He then crawled back up the air shaft, back to where the other two soldiers were, to get some weapons to help him further explore the unusual cave. He also kept it a secret from the others, who thought that gathering weapons was simply go out and hunt for some animals for food. These other soldiers were in no condition to argue. Over the course of the following few days, Horak would go back several times with his weapons. He also found a large diamond-shaped opening at the top of the object where he used belts and rope to go in and out of this giant cylinder. The inside was covered in what appeared to be clay and limestone, and Horak said that the sounds that came from it was abnormally amplified when he spoke, or when he made any noise at all. It was also said that the whole of it was in the shape of a crescent moon. He also came across the remains of a cave bear, which was a species that was extinct a long time before he made the discovery. He deduced that it may have fallen down in this crevice and died centuries ago. He also noticed the horizontal grooves running across the cylindrical chamber's walls, which were warm to the touch. And since he found no other entrance to the cave, he decided to make a note of its location and then conceal the vent that led to it. He put some rocks over the opening. But things weren't looking good for the other soldiers who were shot by the Germans. In fact, one of the other soldiers died, and he, Horak, was also rescued from the cave. That made it impossible for him to continue his excursions deeper into the cave, but he made sure to keep his details written in his diary and all of his sketches that he drew, and he kept them private, and he had a map of its location. For years, Horak tried to go back to the cave, but it was too dangerous for him, and throughout many years, he kept this place a secret. And it wasn't until 1965 that he published a sketch of the entrance as well as a portion of his diary concerning the cave on the National Speleological Society news, where he called it the Moon Shaft or the Moon Cave, so that any spelunkers out there could go take their crack at trying to find the Moon Cave. He was also interviewed by numerous researchers when he moved to the United States. Among them was the famous Dr. J. Allen Hynek of Project Blue Book. And from then on, the cave caught the imagination of adventurers, geologists, and mystery seekers from all over the world. Unfortunately, no one could go explore and verify Horak's discovery because of the political situation in the former Czechoslovakia and the area of the cave that was considered off-limits. However, it would not be until Czech explorers Ivan Mackerel and Michael Brumlik ventured into the Tatra Mountains in the 1980s that any actual follow-up fieldwork had been done on the matter. Other expeditions would follow, but none of them were able to locate this mysterious cave. But the problem with the sketches that Horak made is that they're just extremely vague. He just mentioned that this is in Tatra Mountain somewhere, and that it can be found near a village in the area, which doesn't really help. Given the isolation of this location that he described, it can be anywhere in these mountains. Till this day, no one knows for sure where it is, and every now and then a new claim about the cave would be made with no real-life proof to back it up. So today, it still remains hidden, unknown. Where's Indiana Jones when you need him? This curious case seems to leave more questions than answers. What in the world did Anton Horak find when he was out in the wilderness over those few days? Was it just in his head? Is someone trying to cover up something? Some people said the cave was a geological anomaly. Some said it's an ancient copper mine. Some said it's just an entrance to an underground world. Just an underground world, nothing to see here. One of the more prominent theories that perhaps the cave was an entrance to Agartha, an underground empire of advanced civilization, somewhere below Mongolia or Tibet. Or it could be the portal through which this civilization can find its way to Earth's surface. Another theory was that the moon cave could have been used as a huge lens that amplified cosmic energy like a device that could control the stability of the sun or the Earth. No theory was ever proven, and perhaps no one will ever know for sure. One person who knew for sure was Anton Horak, who vanished in the later years with no trace at all. He took all the secrets he had with him and left a vague diary that led explorers nowhere and left them to forever wonder what lies beneath these mountains. Is it something extraterrestrial? Or was it the work of imagination by a soldier who was on the verge of death? Let us know what you think about it in the chat below. If you like stories of the unexplained, stories the mainstream media won't cover, please subscribe to the channel. We publish our videos twice per week. Go ahead and also smash that like button, and we'll see you on the other side.